Hi students, we'll be learning about text connections in this lesson. By the end of the lesson, you should be able to explain what is meant by making connections with text. 2. Identify the type of text connections being made in given scenarios. 3. Make connections with texts read. Have you ever read a book or story and thought that it reminded you of another story or a personal experience you have had before? If yes, then you were making a connection with the text. You probably make connections on a daily basis without realizing that you are doing so. Text connections are an important part of reading comprehension. You will be learning about the 3 types of text connection in today's lesson. Look at each picture clue below. Can you figure out what the 3 types of text connections are from these picture clues? Write them on the lines provided inside each box. So we have text, then we have self, we have world, and we have to. So this is text to self. Okay, text to self, text to world, and text to text. That was easy. Making connections with texts mean that you use what you already know to help you understand what you are reading. When you are reading, there are 3 kinds of connections you can make with a text. You can connect with a text based on your personal experiences, something you have read before, or something that you know has happened or is happening in the real world. When you make a connection between what you read and a personal experience you have had, you are making a text-to-self connection. Oftentimes, when reading, you might think, "This reminds me of." In these moments, you are making a text-to-self connection. Making text-to-self connections might give you an idea of what the characters are feeling in the situation presented in the book or story. When a text you read reminds you of another text that you have read before, then you are making a text-to-text connection. When making a text-to-text connection, you might think to yourself, "This story or book reminds me of another story or book that I have read." A text-to-world connection is made when what you read reminds you of something that has happened or is happening in real life. When making text-to-world connections, you might say to yourself, "This is similar to what has been or what is happening." Making connections with texts is very important as it helps you to understand what you are reading with better clarity. When you are able to relate to the text that you are reading through the different kinds of connections, you are better able to remember what you have read, and sometimes reading becomes even more meaningful, entertaining, and interesting. Though making connections is a very important comprehension skill, it is also imperative that you do not become distracted by the connections you are making. You should use the connections to help you understand the text, but do not allow it to distract you from the text that you are reading. For example, you are reading a story that reminds you of an experience you had on your summer vacation. Be careful not to spend more time talking about your summer vacation instead of using the experience to help you understand the text. Focus only on the details from the experience that relate to the text you are reading. Avoid giving all the details of what happened on your summer vacation, as it might distract you from the text you should be trying to comprehend. Now, read each scenario below. Say whether a text-to-self, text-to-text, or text-to-world connection is being made. And this is what we want you to add to your summary for presentation. Number 1. At the Miss Lou lunch hour concert, a student performed the poem entitled Dirty Tough by Miss Lou. After the performance, the MC explained that even though the poem was written many years ago, it can be related to things that are happening in today's economy. What kind of connection did the MC make with the poem? Number 2. You are reading The Three Little Pigs as a bedtime story to your little brother. While you are reading, he points out that the big bad wolf is just like the wolf in the story of Little Red Riding Hood, because he wanted to eat the three little pigs. What connection is your little brother making with the text? Number 3. The literature book, A Cow Called Boy, was written by C. Everald Palmer, who is from the community you now live in. While you are reading the story in class, you are able to share an experience you had at one of the settings described in the story. What kind of connection are you making with the text? So in this episode, we looked at text connections. Now that we have finished going through, are you now better able to explain what is meant by connections with text? Are you able to identify the types of text connections being made? Are you better able to make connections with the texts read? If you are able to do these things, then our objectives would have been met and we would have had a successful lesson. Take care, and we'll see you in our next episode.